Where'd he go? Where'd he go? 2017. Where'd you go? That might have been the dumbest intro I've ever done. But hey, 2017's gone. My name's Insane Raven, and this is a letter from the field. How are you doing? I don't know where this year went. I don't pretend to know where this year went. Because it seems like I got here, and it was like, yep, bye. I'm not needed here anymore. Which is insane. I don't know what happened. I'm just happy with how it went. So I'm in a really interesting position because of how we do these videos and how I scheduled everything to come out like I had a plan. I'm going to talk about 2017 this year, and then I'm going to talk about my plans for 2018 in the next video because everything is going to line up nice. So let's look back on 2017. Let's look back on everything we did. We played some of the best games that came out this year between Resident Evil 7 and Injustice 2. And I think there was a third one. I don't remember. This year was so long. It was amazing. We got so much support and love from you guys. We practically doubled our subscriber base. We're just 4 subscribers away. And it'd be really, really cool if we could double our subscriber base, but you know, being that today's like the last day, I'm not gonna actually count on it to happen or anything. We saw more movies and reviewed more shows and things than in any of the previous years, with the IO reviews kicking off and just being an amazing addition to the scheduling, even though towards the middle and end of the year it got kind of wonky with how those videos came out. I'm trying to find a second job so I can make those much more routine and scheduled like I want them to be. But we did more auto reviews than ever before, and it was amazing. We have done more playthroughs, more story times this year than in previous years. And I'm excited to say we even started a new show with Platinum Road, which will be a permanent fixture of the channel. I just don't know which game I'm going to do next. And there's going to be some space in between them. Like, don't worry about them not returning, because they will return, but I just don't know with what game next. We still have a little bit to go with Dead by Daylight anyway, so we still have the space there. I'm playing terribly because I'm getting excited about this. I'm getting excited about talking about this year. So there was that. We played a more varied version of games. We played games that previously we would have never even touched. I'm looking at Resident Evil again with you. Looking at Injustice 2 as a game that for Trophy Hunts kind of took over everything. Like, when you look at the best things on the channel, the amount of love that series got was unprecedented, taking over the most viewed time on the channel in multiple categories, which again, bloody awesome, especially since I'm terrible at fighting games. It was amazing to see. You guys have come out in waves to support this crazy thing I'm doing here. With more view time, more of everything. And it's been amazing to see that. And I'm excited for the next year. Like, 2 years ago we tripled. This year we doubled. I hope that we can keep that momentum up. And I have a couple of plans for next year that I'm not going to talk about just yet to continue that momentum. But this was a great year. We went back and played a bunch of games from childhood, including Crash Bandicoot and Kingdom Hearts 2. This was an amazing year. We played our first dating sim as a celebration of getting 69 subscribers with Frisky Business. I went diving in the Devil's Den in Florida, which is something I didn't get to talk about on the channel because it happened over winter break. it happened last week, and there was no video on Christmas Eve, like I promised there would be, because family. But this was just such an amazing year for that kind of thing. Everything that we did ended up coming on top in some way. Even if it didn't come out immediately, it came out on top when and where it needed to, in comparison to previous years, and it was amazing to see. The letters of the field have gotten more extravagant. They've been more involved. We went to go see Game Grumps live, and we got to tell about that. I don't know how I want to say that. Someone wrote me a comment that I find your persistence amazing, even though you're just talking to the void a lot of times, which was so touching to me. I got a comment of, we've had comments of people being just like, thank you. I didn't expect you to work that hard for me, and those kind of things that show like, oh, I am doing the right thing. I am doing, what I want to do with this, and that was just amazing to see. It was amazing to, feel that and be able to experience that. We played World War II. We did so much this year, guys. I don't know. Like, when I think of this year for the channel, it was a very good year for the channel. That being said, because the universe is funny and I like to balance things out, there were certain parts of this year that wasn't good for me personally. Like, my grades and doing school didn't go out as well as I would have liked. And when I say that, I mean it was actually a complete disaster in many aspects. And 2018 has to change that, but I'll talk about more that next week. I had a couple of serious bouts of depression when SourceFed died, and when things kind of ended when they weren't supposed to. I almost died with the whole. I almost died going to Game Grumps. That was the thing. I now have a new fear of the water, because diving is really scary when with things. Even though it was a fun experience, it kind of made me realize that people are terrified of the water. And there was a lot of good that came out of this year, but it wasn't all good. Politically, the United States is a train wreck at the moment. Everyone's terrified. Everyone's kind of terrified of something currently. We have North Korea being North Korea, but even on a higher extent, there's a lot of things that the whole Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too movement is terrifying to even think about as a possibility, let alone knowledge of it being reality. There were some movies that I saw that were actually terrible. I'm Looking at You, The Cure of Being Well, or whatever it's called. I forgot what it was called such a long time ago. Also, Downsizing. I didn't review it, but I recently saw it. I saw it yesterday, and Downsizing was terrible. So I wanted to throw that shot in there. This was a good year for us, but it wasn't a good year for everything. And I think being like blind and not mentioning that would be folly. The other thing I want to talk about is that YouTube had it rough this year. Between like 3 different adpocalypse. It was rough. Like, things on YouTube have been rougher than ever, and YouTube kind of has to look in on itself right now and be like, okay, as a site, as a entertainment source, where do we want to go? And then that has to be a conversation that not only does the big wigs over at YouTube, but the creators do too, on a cellular level. The shutdown of Vine was something that I don't think anyone could have predicted. The seismic shifts it created on the site, and how everything of that. I don't think anyone could have honestly predicted that Jake Paul would be a thing. and how that just came out, and just everything regarding the other side of YouTube basically has been nightmarish, and those are things that like we have to talk about, and I'm glad that we got to talk about that here. Glad that we had that moment. But we move on. We continue. But 2017 is a year that I think for us, as a channel, are going to look fondly back on. I think as YouTube is going to be a tipping point in how things either change to become better or become worse. And 2017, in the end, will be a telling year for YouTube and how YouTube is going to function as a site going forward. And personally, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what that means. I'm excited to see how this continues. Personally, I loved this year, and this year was good for us, even though there were a lot of dark moments in this year, regarding depression, regarding things ending, regarding YouTube and home. I'm not gonna lie, this year had a lot of dark moments, but it was still a good year for us. And that's something that, if I have to close out 2017, because tonight I'm going to be exploding fireworks and saying, oh, let's bring in a new year of awesome. I have to. And if we're going to, is that when there are dark moments, when things get hard, when things get nightmarish, there is a better tomorrow. There is something in tomorrow that keeps you coming back. Like, tomorrow is never something that you should fear. It's something that you have to acknowledge, yeah, this could be terrible. This could fuck up everything. But it's still a new day, and it's something that you look forward to. And I think 2017 was a really good year for that. It was something that, even though it was hard for a lot of people, we kept taking the next step. We kept moving forward. We kept pushing forward. Even though politically it was a mess, even though the site that we're on, the site that we cherish and that we're talking on, was a mess, even though, there were things that made this year hard, but there were other things that made it great. And I'm glad that this year for me was also a really good showing of that. Even though I fucked up certain things, I got into fights with friends. I started isolating myself in a lot of ways when I didn't have to or shouldn't have. This year was a good year to remind you and remind myself that tomorrow is a new and better day. I started a career that I love. A job, well, I wouldn't say a career yet, but I started a job that I love, and I have high hopes that it pushes me forward into my career. I have, I'm optimistic that even as this continues, as things that I don't like continues, and even though there are things that I'm still fighting with legally, that was too many bullets. I'm excited for. I'm excited for the next day, even though every day that I face, I'm both terrified of, but I'm also excited for. And I think that pretty much sums up 2017 in a nutshell, is that there was a lot of good and there was some deep bad, but I'm still excited for the next piece of good. And I know to a certain extent, I'm just repeating myself, and I know that, but I think it's something that I want to thank 2017 for giving me, even though this year, in a lot of ways, for a lot of people, was absolutely shitty. I want to remind myself with that. I want to remind myself that tomorrow is a new and exciting day. I don't know how this became a life lesson video, but it did. And I think that's a good way. That's an anime. I think that's a good place to end the video. You know. So even though this was a train wreck of a year for a lot of people, including me personally, for the channel and for other parts of me, it was the best year. So thank you for being here for this year. Thank you for being a part of this craziness, and thank you for walking together through it all, because you don't have to, and granted, a lot of people wouldn't. So thank you. And I'm done being sentimental. I'll see you in 2018 for a kick-ass year. And oh, that's bad. Yeah. See you then. Bye.